So all of the ones we have been factoring until now, right? They all kind of look similar in that this coefficient is always 1, right? But it's not usually like that. So today we're going to talk about what happens if that coefficient is not 1. And there are 3 different ways that we're going to do that, right? We're going to learn how to do it in like more than one way. So let's see. So for the first one, we're going to factor by grouping, right? The first method we're going to learn is factor by grouping. Now we did factor by grouping over here, right? Where was it? Way before. We learned how to factor by grouping, but we said you can use factor by grouping when you have 4 terms, right? That's when we use factor by grouping. Here, if I want to factor this one has 3 terms, but I need 4. So how can I make 4 out of the 3? Well, we have to split 1 into 2 different ones, right? To make it a 4. And the one we split is the middle one, right? So the first thing is we need to create 4 terms out of the 3 that we have. And the one that we split is always this middle one. Okay, this middle one is the one that we split. Okay, so how does this work? What you do is first you multiply this number to this. Okay? What do you get when you do that? 30. Right? You get 30. 6 times 5, you get 30. So now what I want is I want 2 numbers that multiply to 30 and the sum is 17, that middle number, similar to what we were doing, right? So here we go. So I want a product of 30 and I want the sum to be 17, right? So what are the factors of 30? Well, it's 1 and 30, 2 and 15, but hey, that one does add to 17, right? So that's the one that I want, okay? So now, instead of the 17x, I write 2x plus 15x, right? 2x plus 15x. So when I do that, now I can split this one and this one. So now from the red, I factor out a 2x and I get 3x plus 1. From the blue, I factor out a 5 and I get 3x plus 1. And oh my gosh, just like we had before, right? I have a common term, 3x plus 1, 3x plus 1. I write that here, and then I have 2x plus 5 that I write over here. So that's how I factored it, okay? All right, let's do one. Let's do this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the 3 to the 7, and that's going to give me negative 21. So now I want 2 numbers that multiply to negative 21, but they add to 20, right? Okay, so one version is, okay, 1 and 21, right? That multiplies to 21. Okay, let's take a look for a minute. How do I know? Okay, so they have to multiply to negative 21. How do I know which one of these to make negative? Well, you look at this. Okay, whatever the sign is of that one, the big number has to have that same sign. So it's positive 1, negative, positive 21, negative 1. Okay, that adds to 20. So now I have 3x squared minus 1x plus 21x minus 7. You see how that worked? Okay, so the negative 1 and the 21 goes here. Now I split and I split. So from the red one, what can I factor out? X. And I get 3x minus 1. From the blue one, what can I factor out? Positive 7. So I get 3x minus 1. Okay, fabulous. These are the same terms. I write it one time. And what do I have left over? X plus 7. And that's my answer. Okay? It's whatever is left. So the 3x minus 1 goes away, and then I have x plus 7. Okay? All right, so let's do the next one. Multiply the two numbers, and we're going to get negative 20. So I want two numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to 8. So negative 20, positive 8. Right? What are the factors of 20? 2 and 10. Okay, so 2 and 10, hang on. 2 and 10 does add to 8, right? But it's going to be negative 2 and positive 10. Okay. So now here I have 4x squared. So how do I know which one to put first? This is kind of the tricky part, right? It has to be by trial and error. So I'm going to do plus 10x minus 2x minus 5. Okay, here's how you know. Here's how you know. You won't know until a step later. So now let's split it. And let's see what I can factor out. From the blue, I can factor out a 2 and an x, right? So I get x plus 5, okay? From here, I can, so this is a, can I factor anything out? Wait, what did I do wrong here? Oh, it's supposed to be minus 2x plus 10x. No. This is supposed to be a 2x. Are you guys with me? No. Okay. Okay, so look at this. I have 4x squared plus 10x. Between the 4 and the 10, what can I factor out? A 4 and the 10, I can factor out a 2. Between the x squared and the x, I can factor out an x. Now, remember what factoring out meant. It's we divide both of these by 2x. So for the first one, I get x, and then, oh my God, I get 2x. I did the same mistake again, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. Now, 10 over 2 is 5. X and x goes away. Okay, but this is a plus, right? So let's see. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared over x is x. 10 over 2 is 5, and the x's go away. Now here, I have, can I factor anything out from here? No, so just the 1, but then whatever that number is, I need to divide by negative 1, right? Because I have a negative 1 out there. So negative 2 over negative 1 is 2x plus 5. Yeah. Wouldn't it make more sense for the 10x to be switched because then the 10 can... Okay, but look at what happens here. Look at what happens here. Now, the trick is, how do you know you did it correctly? Is when you have the same thing. If you switch it, you're not going to have the same thing. So this is how I know I did it correctly. So whatever is the same, I write it one time, and then I collect the other terms. 2x minus 1. Okay? Okay, so that's the factor by grouping method. Okay, next method is guess and check. So let's do guess and check. The way in which we do guess and check is the following. Here, so when I'm doing this, this is the way I do it, is guess and check, right? So here's what we want. We want these two numbers here to multiply to 3x squared. Right, so I need two things that multiplies to 3x squared. So that will be, 3 and 1, but x, right? 3x and x, because 3x times x is 3x squared. Great. Now, I need two numbers that multiply to negative 2, There aren't much choices there, right? It's 1 and -2 or -2 and, right? But remember when you do FOIL, the outer and the inner added together have to be 5x. Okay, now that got confusing. Let's see what I mean. So how do we get -2? Well, it's like -1 and 2, right? So let's try that. -1, +2. Now let's see. What does the outer numbers give me? The outer numbers, 6x. The inner numbers, -x. Together, 6x and -x. Is that 5x? Yes. So that's how I know this is it. Okay? So you have to do half of the FOIL. Outer, inner. Okay? All right. Last one. Let's do this one. This is another way. This one, I'm always kind of hesitant because students go 2/3 of the way and they miss the last part, and then it always comes out wrong. So you have to be careful when you're doing this last one. Yeah. No, you just know I'm showing you 3 ways. You can factor however you want. Okay. So this one, here's what we do. Multiply this to this, but we are going to rewrite it. We can't say equals here because it's not equal to. We're kind of changing it. So we rewrite it as x squared minus 13x minus 30. Okay? Now, let's factor this. So look at what I did. I completely changed this problem for now, right? I completely took out that 6, which is not really like, I can't leave it this way. I somehow have to compensate for what I've done in the end. So now though, let's just factor this, right? So I have x and x, and let me get 2 numbers that multiply to -30, but add to -13. So the factors of -30 are 1 and 30. Now remember, if this is a negative, the bigger one gets the negative. Or it's 2 and -15. Or it's 3 and -10, right? Or 5 and -6, that's it. Which one of these adds to -13? This one. So I say +2 minus 15. But I can't be done now because remember how I took out the 6? I have to put the 6 back to both of them. Both of them. Now, here's the part. If you leave your answer like this, it's completely wrong. Okay? Because if you FOIL this, you don't get the original back. From the first term, what happens if I multiply the first term? Do I get 6x squared? No, I get 36x squared. Already it's wrong. So you can't give me this as an answer. It's wrong. What I need to do now is I need to look at each of the parentheses and see if I can reduce it. So for the first parenthesis, the 6 and the 2, can they be divided by the same number? No. What number? 2. So here, I got to divide by 2. What about the second one, the 6 and the 15? Can they be divided by a number? Yeah. 3. It can be different numbers, right? 1 gets 2, 1 gets 3. That's fine. So now here, okay, 6x divided by 2, 3x. 2 divided by 2 plus 1, 2x minus 5. Now this one, if you FOIL this, you get 6x squared minus 15x plus 2x minus 5. This gives you the answer back, right? The original back. So that is the answer. If you give me anything else, it cannot be right. There is very little partial credit for this, right? Because if I tell you, give me 2 factors of 40, okay? And you tell me 3 and 6, like no, there is not even partial credit, right? Those are not. If you multiply those 2 numbers, you don't get 40. And it's the same thing here. If I tell you, give me the factors of this, you have to give me 2 things that multiply to that, okay? Okay. All right. So let's do. It's exactly what it is. It's the reverse of the FOIL method is what we're doing. Okay. All right. So here we go. If a polynomial is prime, then it cannot be written as a product. So if there is one that you are not able to factor, never say no solution. You only say what? Prime. Don't say no solution because it has a solution. It just can't be factored. Okay? All right. So let's do this one. So let's do it in the last way I taught you, only because I want to make sure I like stress the, what do you call it? The dividing. Okay, let's multiply this. So I get x squared plus 27x plus 50. Yeah. So if it's plus plus, it's going to be plus plus. What two numbers multiply to 50 and add to 27? 2 and 25. So plus 2 plus 25. Now, what do I have to put back in here? 5, 5. There's always going to be one parenthesis that you can divide, at least one that you can divide. The first one, is there anything that you can divide by? No. What about the second one? Divide by 5. So I get 5x plus 2 for the first one, and then x plus 5 for the second one. Okay? I know you guys can do this. I know. I've seen how much you can do. You all can do this. You're going to make me proud with this. I bet you will. Okay? Let me tell you, even my pre-calc honors sometimes they're like, I don't know how to factor this. None of you all are going to be that person. None of you. Okay? Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's do this one. Okay. So x squared plus 13x plus 30. So x. Okay, give me two numbers. Multiply to 30, add to 13. Add to 13. 3 and 10. That's the one. 3 and 10. Yeah, see? Yep, okay. All right, so all of them could have worked in a different problem. Okay, so what do I add back here? 5. Do I divide the first one? Do I divide the second one? By what? Okay, so I get 5x plus 3. Correct. To check. Yeah, if you do FOIL, that's the only way to check. Okay, the next one. Multiply the 2 to this. So I get t squared minus 11t plus 14. So now I want two numbers that multiply to 14 and add to negative 11. So remember, when I have minus plus, this is going to be minus minus. All right, what do we think? Eitan, what do you think? Give me some factors of 14 that add to negative 11 there. Anybody? Right, but that doesn't multiply to 14. It is prime. This one is prime. Okay? Listen, use that prime business wisely. You can't just, give up and say it's prime, right? It doesn't work that way, but because you just have to try. There is no other way. There is no test for it. That's what I was looking at you. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we go. Look at this one now. Now we're putting things together, right? This one is 2p squared plus 14p plus 24. Before you do anything, right, you always have to check if you can factor out a GCF. Like in this case, right off the bat, all of these can be divided by 2. So first I take out a 2. P squared plus 7p plus 12. Now look at this one. Now here I end with a coefficient of 1. So I could just factor this like the last lesson that you did for the homework for today. So go ahead and start factoring. Yeah. Yes. You have to do this way, the GCF, and I'll tell you why, okay? So here you do 2 PP plus what? What? How do we get 12? And adds to 7? Yes. Okay, so look. When you factor this and you're done, this entire thing is your answer. You have to have in your answer a 2 in front of it. Now, if you don't recognize that this is here, if you don't recognize to do this first, your answer will end up without this 2 in the front, and that cannot be full credit. Okay? So, when you're factoring, the first thing that needs to go through your head is there a GCF? If there is a GCF, you take it out. And then everything else, you do it after. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, everyone. We just weren't doing it until now because I was focusing on the method. So like this next one. First, is there a GCF? No. So let's multiply this to this. Yeah. And then go ahead and continue with this one. And then when you're done with this, also do F. So do E and F right now. So if you once you do E and F, also take another 2 or so minutes and do G and H on the last page as well, on the next page as well. So I want you to do 4 of them right now. E, F, G, and H. Okay? So do all those 4 right now. All right, I'm going to call people up to the board soon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so listen. This is where we're going to stop for today. The worksheet you have for homework is all just on the stuff that we did. So you're going to do all of the stuff on the worksheet because it is all practice for everything we did today. And then tomorrow, we're going to do the rest of the lesson. And the worksheet for that one is a separate worksheet. Okay? All right.